Okay, hello everyone. In this video, we are going to teach you how to get started with Python. So, if you want to learn the Python programming language, if you are new to programming and you decided to learn Python, then this is the video for you. The first thing to get started is obviously download the tools. So, go to the website, it's python.org, and if you go to downloads and click on the download button, the latest version currently is 3.8.5. If you click on that, that should download it for you, and you just open it and go through the setup. After that's done, if you go to the start, let me close this. If you go to the start and type Python, then you'll get four results. The first result says idle, and this is actually the main one. This is what we're going to be using most of the time. The second one is the manuals. So this is the documentation. The fourth one is also the documentation. It's in the module docs. So this basically has all the information you need to know if you want to find out about anything. We close that and we go type it again. And the third one is basically a command prompt. It only launches the interpreter, which I'll tell you what it actually is. So for now, we just open idle. So this is what you will see when you open up idle. So the first thing you can do is type some simple mathematical calculations like 2 plus 5 will print out 7. 2 minus 2 can do that. Then what else? There's multiplication. 7 into 100, 700. 7 divided by 2, that's division. Now there are a lot of operators. This plus, minus, into, these are called operators, just like in maths. And there are many other special operators other than the one we normally use in maths. There's another one, there's the percentage, which is modulus. So that will, if you do that, that will divide 7 and 5, 7 divided by 5, and instead of printing out the quotient, it will print out the remainder. So in this case, our remainder is 2, right? Then there are many other operators. Let's say another operator, the power operator, exponent operator. This is basically 7 square. I can do 7 cube, 7 to the power 4. 7 square will print out 49. I can do 100 to 100, which is a big amount. Yeah, so there are a lot of operators. There is another special operator I think you should know about is the flow division operator. And now this is just like division, but the only difference is it ignores the decimal point. So if I did what I did last time, so I did 7 by 2 and it printed out 3.5. You can see here. So this time when I do with flow division, it's going to print only 3. It ignores the decimal part. So yeah, that is the thing. There are many other operators. You can just actually open the docs. If you open the docs, there's all the information over there. If you see the built-in constants, that's all. If you want to know about anything, you can see over there. Okay, now before you go into programming, it's important to understand how computers actually work. And if you can get a deep understanding of how these things work, how the electronics inside works, then it will actually be very useful to you in understanding how programming works because it's interrelated. Yeah. Now programming is if okay, how do computers work? It's simple as input, process, output. You give the computer input, it processes it so according to some rules that we have given it, like we have given it rules for how to add something, how to subtract something, and it follows those rules and it gives an output. So that's how it works. That's how computers work. So what we are doing here in programming is we are basically giving instructions to the computer. That is, you can say that as input. We're giving instructions to computer of what it's supposed to do, what we want it to do, and it does that for us. That's basically programming, giving instructions to the computer so that it does something that you want. Now, What else can we do? Okay, we can do that. Actually, programming is very much related to mathematics. So you'll see a lot of things here which is pretty close to maths. So for example, we can also have algebra here, like A is equal to 5, B is equal to 10, and then I can do A plus B. So that prints out 5 plus 10, 15, A minus B. So the difference here, what I'm exactly doing here, before we were doing things like 5 plus 10, and that was printing out something. That was like a calculator. But here, what we are doing is by saying A is equal to 5, we are assigning variables. We are saying that A means 5. So whenever I want to know what A is, it will just say it's 5. It's just like maths. So this is very useful because now I can store data. I'm storing data to the computer. Now data can be stored in many different forms, many different types. For example, integer type, that is integers, we know what integers are. It's from minus infinity to infinity, 0 and infinity. Then there's floats. What are floats? They are basically numbers with decimal points like 5.5, 6.7. So yeah, then there is booleans, there is strings, and there are many other data types. What are the main data types that you need to know is integer, which is something like 4. Then there's float, like 4.5 decimal numbers. Then there's this thing, strings. So strings are interesting. Whenever you type a string data type, you're going to put it in quotes. So if I say hello world, you're going to put it in quotes. Whatever string you type, it's always going to be in quotes. It can be in double quotes, single quotes, whatever it is. Whatever it is. So, and you're not limited to just characters. I mean, alphabets. You can type literally anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at, percent, anything. And yeah, and it's basically, it strings basically, okay, what the hell did I do? Um, oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's a mistake. I used a single quote in the start and a double quote in the end, which is pretty weird. We should not do that. Yeah, now it works. So it basically holds a set of characters. Doesn't matter what character, it's a number, it's an alphabet, it's some symbol. So it's just going to hold them in place. That's why they call it a string of characters. It's in a string. Okay, then what other data types? Then there's something called a Boolean data type, or bool for short, and it has only two values. Unlike integers can have lots of values, 1, 2, 3, 4 to infinity, but a Boolean can only have two values, either true or false. So this is useful in cases where you want to check if something is either true or false. And if it is true, you want to do something else. If it is false, you want to do something else. So it's useful to store such variables. We call it the bool. So for example, I can type A is equal to true, or I can start with, okay, my pocket, or uh, I don't know. Let's hold on. Okay, so for an example of how I can store Boolean, say I'm alive is equal to true, and when I die, I can change I'm alive to false. So yeah, that's a weird use case, but you'll see it later. Okay, so these are the basic data types. There are a lot more data types actually. Lot of data types which you'll find useful, and you can check them in the documentation in Python standard library. Built-in types, there are a lot of built-in data types. There's integer, float, complex numbers, lists, ranges, so many interesting types, strings. So you can check out all of that. Everything, all the information you need to know is actually here. but it's just that it's not intuitive, so yeah, because you have to search for something. Okay, but yeah, yeah, this is useful. Okay, so yeah, just play around. I encourage you guys to play around, and simple, the most simple statement I'm going to give to you is print. Now print, um, I'm going to put it in semi in parenthesis, and whatever I put in parenthesis, say I put a string holding hello world, it's going to print hello world. It's going to print it on my screen basically. Print a number. If I want to print a number, it'll print it for me. Now by default, you guys must have seen when I'm typing some number or something like 10, it's printing it for me automatically. Now the reason is because Python actually has two modes. There's the interactive mode and there's the script mode. Now, what's the difference between this? Interactive mode is basically where it's you mainly used for like writing some a very short program or just testing something really small, like checking if two values are equals. Very small things like you saw here how we just did small operations like one line operations. We used only one line operations. So that's where interactive mode is useful. And although it's also useful that when you type a number, it prints it automatically for you, or you type anything, it prints it for you. Now there's another mode called the script mode, and that is actually the important mode. That's the main thing. That's what you're going to be using most of the time. I'll actually show you what a script mode is. A script mode, you have to go to it by typing it, going to File, New File, and that is actually script mode. So in script mode, what you do is it's basically it saves all of the code that you type. So if I type A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, and then I type C, or okay, we'll type something like um, C is equal to A plus B. Okay, something simple like that. And then I want to print the sum, that is C. And now I can save this as a file. It's a Python file. So I'll save it in our desktop. First program, you can say, save. And it's going to save it as a py file called firstprogram.py. So basically, if I close this now, I closed it. Now I can go to my recent files actually. It's there here, firstprogram.py. Open it, it opens for me. All of the code that I had written before is saved, and I can actually run this how many times I want. So to run it, I can press F5 or I can go to run module F5, and that just printed 30 for me. 10 plus 20 is 30. It printed C, it printed 30 exactly. I can change the value 10, so of 20 will be 25. Save the file and print, it does 35. It's important to know that when you make any changes and you want to run the program, it will ask you to save the file first. That is important. You need to save the file, and yeah, it prints out. So this is you're going to be in script mode most of the time. Alright, so I think this is enough for this tutorial. We'll go into a lot more detail, and I think most of the time we're going to be spending on script mode. So I encourage you to experiment and explore what are the things that you can do. I'm sure you can do a lot more things. I've given you enough information to do a lot more things than what I'm showing you here. I'm just showing you a simple addition program. But okay, if you want something difficult, hmm, um, let me give you a program as homework. Find out the area of a circle given the radius. Yeah, that's your homework. I hope you are able to do it. If you're not able to do it, don't worry. You can search Google or you can ask me. I can help you in it. Okay. Thank you, guys. Hope you found this useful. Hope you found this useful. Goodbye.